wanted to share about the first day of filming my first feature film. Something I never thought I could do is make a feature film, and I always wanted to do. I always knew I was called to do this, and it took me 15 years to have the script in my hand to be able to write this, and here I am, directing, acting as the main character, being the cinematographer, and it's going pretty well. And I wanted to share some BTS footage if I have the chance to add that. If I don't, it won't be there, but I wanted to share with you the things that I've learned through the course of the first day of filming the feature film. And I'm going to continue doing that for each of the filming days as the film persists, and trying to leave a trail of breadcrumbs of the wisdom I'm learning, of all the fears, all the emotional turmoil, all the questions of the, things that you grapple with. And I can tell you this, the very first day of filming felt next to impossible going in. And then as we were filming and then walking away from the first day, I was like, oh, that wasn't so hard. And even though we were filling a drop of water in the bucket, we're just filling a bucket with drops of water that could get splashed over at any point. It became a new reality for me of, I'm just filling this bucket with water, and I'm just doing my best. And I'm letting God guide us and guide my steps through the process of this. And I'm trusting in Him that He's going to make sure that things work for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. In that case, I love God, and I am called according to His purpose. And I'm going to share with you what that journey's been like. I'm Thomas Prophet. I've spent 15 years trying to be Nolan and Tarantino, only to realize I was being a doubting Thomas. After narcissistic abuse, the death of a close friend, and nearly losing another to cancer, Christ found me, and He changed my life in filmmaking for the better. Now I'm on a mission to help Him do the same for you. If you want to help me with that mission, hit subscribe. I appreciate your encouragement. Welcome to Moviemaker Ministry. My first feature film, day one post-mortem. So I wanted to give recaps of every filming day that I've had on my first feature film. And the first day felt like I was preparing for some big initiation, or honestly, it felt like I was preparing for battle. Even though I've never been through that. I don't know what that's like, but it just feels like I was gearing up for something big. Like everything in life, like things were going wrong in life. I was experiencing a lot of spiritual warfare, resistance. Things were coming up. People were trying to rope me into drama that I had nothing to do with. There were so many things that I now realize are just interpreted as attacks from the devil, that it was encouraging to know that I had to persist. I had to stay true to this path I was on. I had to commit. And we're a third of the way through now as I'm recording these videos, talking about it. But day one of filming, gearing up for it, the day before, I had to visit my Nana for the last time. Or what I thought would be the last time, at least. And, I went in never doing a feature film before, being very fearful, being very uncertain. But I've learned this last year is like you have to embrace the uncertainty. I think it was a problem of dealing with and grappling with OCD. With my OCD, I have trouble with uncertainty. And you have to just be able to show up and sit in it. And it's very challenging, and it feels like you're putting two ends of a magnet together. They don't want to stick, but you gotta just persist, man. And it will never stop, like, forcing the two ends of the magnet away. It's always going to be there, but you have to sit in that. And it's uncomfortable. And I kind of came up with this metaphor, I think, after the day of filming, where I realized we had filled drops of water in the bucket. Like every shoot day, on this feature film is a drop of water in the bucket. Is there certainty that we're not going to have to refilm something because, say, something happened with an actor or location, and trust me, things will go askew. But realizing that, you don't get the certainty anymore of doing a short film where you get 5 days done or 2 to 5 days done and you got the whole thing in the can. You don't get that luxury anymore. You have to go months without knowing whether you actually have anything. I mean, you look at the footage, you know that you can edit the film together with the footage, but you don't know if you're gonna have to like be forced back to square one. But that's all part of having faith, and that's what this feature film's been teaching me is it's important to have that faith, and it's been teaching me a lot. Faith in people, faith in myself, faith in God, more importantly, and that He'll make everything work for the good of those who love Him and who are called according to His purpose. And in this film, I do feel like I am called according to His purpose. It became about my coming back to Christ and my testimony, and without knowing it when I was writing it. And I also prayed that He would guide me in rewriting it because I felt like there was some things that weren't what it needed to be. And then He sent someone to give me that feedback when I needed it, and it actually improved the script. And ever since improving it and changing it, like right before filming, everything just felt different. It felt like it was like 5 to 10 times easier for things to fall together and to get stuff done. But I was still pretty exhausted on my first day, and because I was not giving myself breaks at all. I was just kind of going head first into it. And so for the first day, we decided to do the therapy scenes first, and this would be 4 days of filming at this building my old church owns. And basically we had to film. We filmed with a 4-camera setup, and in the past I don't like doing multicam, but I figured that in this case it would be much more efficient if I could figure out how to test the lighting in a way that I knew would work in that environment. We would be able to pull it off. The trouble with doing multi-camera is, especially if you can do multi-camera if it's like filming the same subject and not the reverse shot. Like, you can control the lighting on one subject at once, so you can do like 2 cameras on that person, or 3. Why 3 doesn't? I've tried it. It doesn't. There's no point to it. But doing a 3-camera setup or 2-camera setup on like one subject is great, and it's very easy and efficient to do, and it gives you more options in the editing room. I like doing that. But and we did that a lot of my last short film for Phantom Friend. What I found though, when it comes to doing the feature film, like, the lighting style for this is very different from any film I've ever done before. I didn't want to have harsh shadows. I didn't want to have things be very dark and muddy and moody, because this is a very dark script, and dark in the terms of like it deals with very heavy stuff, but it's a very light script. It's moving towards a very positive direction in life, and I didn't want it to feel like I was glamorizing darkness at all. I don't intend to do that at all with this film. It would have felt very tonally off if we had lit it and shot it that way. There might be scenes where there are some shadows, but I'm planning ways to mitigate that and minimize the shadows, and so that we can see in the dark areas, or where the shadows would be. Because that's what the film is about, is seeing the darkness of an everyday person's life. And in this case, it's examining things that are real about me. And so the therapy scenes, the way that this lighting lended itself to a 4-camera setup is I was able to have us distanced enough to have 2 cameras in front of us, 24 millimeters or 25 millimeter lenses each. So it kind of gives us a nice, Roger Deakins, like, what is it? The Cohen Brothers kind of feel, where it's, very much like they're looking close to the lens. And we were able to, me and the actress, Jackie, a very close friend of mine who who you know, back when I was going through narcissistic abuse, she beat cancer, and she's now playing a main role in the film. She is playing the therapist, and we make the joke that she's like my unlicensed therapist in real life. So she's playing my licensed therapist in the film. And so we were able to see each other and kind of play off of each other in the scene. But we also had 2 cameras to the sides, other than the main 2 in the center, that were operated and on 50mm lenses for the close-ups. And I wanted those to be like things I'll punch into in the edit when there's something different or deep about what is being said, or something about the intention. There's an intention there that I want to clue into, these different cameras give a good baseline for, you know, you can establish a baseline and then break from the baseline. That's what I like doing when it comes to, like, somebody told me about camera progression or shot progression, which I think is just ludicrous nonsense that is taught in film schools. But I think you can establish a baseline and break from it. And so I'm very conscious on this film of how do I establish a baseline of how I'm shooting and blocking and editing and filming things. And it's, you know, there's the medium shots, a lot of it's people sitting around doing medium shots of them talking. Like, I'm not gonna lie, best way to do a feature film, modern day, people sitting around in rooms talking about deep stuff. And if you're really good with dialogue, I think you can pull it off. And I think I'm at a place with my dialogue where people like the dialogue enough where I can get away with it. And it's also about real things that actually are very relevant and people want to hear and see a movie about. So I think it works. And we basically, you know, we establish a baseline of this is what this scene is about, this is what this is about, or this is how we film it and capture it, and then we can break from that baseline. And I think that's true of lighting, that's true of camera lenses and everything, and shot placement. So I'm very cognizant of that. And I think on my next feature film, my prayers that we get there, but my next feature film project, I want to incorporate more camera movement and more blocking movement. This film, I intentionally made it so that the entire film could be shot on tripods and boom pole stands, so that I could shoot without a crew if I needed to. I've been blessed that I don't have to so far. Well, except a few days we have had no crew. But back to day one, you know, I was so terrified going in. I mean, it was so much work to get to that point. And coming from the short film I did about my friend who died, the burden of that, the weight of that, I was attributing to this next project and even more. And I just kind of felt like I was being nudged by God to some degree that it's going to be okay. You guys are going to do well. And it went well. And I think, you know, we did the best we could, and we got some really great stuff. And we also did something that I hadn't done before. I didn't plan on this. It kind of just sprang from rehearsal. I learned that a really quick way to get people where I need them to be for the scene in rehearsal is to do an improv. Let people kind of take ownership of the scene and the character, write their own lines on like just live. And what's beautiful is we had a 4-camera setup, so we could actually use that improv if we wanted to. I don't know if we will. Maybe for like some extra content, BTS stuff. If you guys want that, let me know. I'll throw in some improv takes that we did, or bloopers, and kind of have a compilation of that in the future. I think that would be really cool. But we did an improv where it's like, okay, we're gonna do the scene, we'll do the lines as it's written, like once or twice, get the lines down, and then we're gonna go for it, and we're gonna just really swing for the fences and you know, give it our, like, just go, or we're gonna go for the improv and just like swing wherever we want to swing, and just get into the emotion of like swinging as hard as we can wherever we want to go, and letting it, like, just owning the lines, owning the scene, making it ours. And then once you feel that takes you to a place that affects you emotionally, and I look for that in myself and in the other actor across from me. Once I feel like we're there, and I like where we're at, I tell them, go through the lines, or I'll give them a hand motion to go through the lines, and then we'll go through the lines, and we've already practiced them, and then we've already gotten to the scene, but we're coming from that emotional place of the improv into the lines, and the acting is just so much better. It's so much more organic. It's so much more like the character, the actors have owned the scene. They're playing the role, you know, the way that they're supposed to. And if they're not, you can just direct them to another improv and give them new directions and go for it a different way. And it's been very beautiful in that regard. And I am so sorry. I completely, I lost one thing about that I meant to mention. Sorry, I've been recording a bunch of videos today. When it comes to the lighting setup, the reason the bright lighting works for multi-camera is when you're doing a lack of shadows and you're doing very bright images, the problem with doing multicam is the light spills on the other subject. If you're lighting one subject, that light will spill onto the other person, especially if like you're trying to light them, you know, from like different angles or whatever. You welcome that for this brighter lighting setup. So as a cinematographer, I'm actually, you know, I'll set the lighting and have my camera people operate within the bounds that I'm giving them. It's actually very much more doable in the sense of like, you want that light spill. Actually, it allows it to be a little less controlled and a little imperfect, and it works well. Like, I was able to, in my own home, test the lighting setup so that I could light both me and her, or whoever was, you know, sitting across from me, right, and knew where all the all the lights had to be, all the settings and everything, and I got it where it needed to be. One thing I learned though is when I go to do the wide angle, the daylights are already kind of gone away a little bit, and I think I learned later shoot dates that I should modify the lighting so that they're dimmer, so that the window light is brighter, because I wanted the lights from the window to be blown out. And I've heard cinematographers bring up like, oh, you know, you shouldn't have any light be blown out. You should have everything within the bounds. You know, I threw away that rule in this film. Actually, on my short film, I did. I kind of threw that rule away. I don't mind if a part of the image is overexposed and being blown out. I mean, as long as it looks fine in post, you know. If it looks the way I want it to, that's fine. You know, I've shot weddings where it was like that, and I had no control over the lighting for that, and they look fine. Depends what you're shooting on and how you're grading it, but even cameras that don't know how to handle that, like there's like one example is like our BTS cameras don't know how to handle that, like the overexposed parts. They actually make them a different color, so it looks noticeable. I found there's a way to fix that. I think it was like I forget if it's a mirror node, where you're taking the highlights and you're just putting them, rerouting the highlights, preserving them, and putting them over top of the grade so that like they're whatever they were in the raw footage. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but maybe that'll be for a future video. But I'm kind of just gushing about all the things I learned on day one of doing this film, not all the things that we did right now, as I try to recall how things went down. I think that day it was challenging for me because I was wearing a lot of hats. It was challenging because all these things in life were going down, and I'm starting this big adventure for me. Like, this is something I've never been able to do before. And I'm just like, am I shooting myself in the foot right now? Am I just leaping off of a bridge right now without any way of landing? That's what it feels like. And then, you know, we got the day done on time, which was awesome. and we got a lot of great stuff. We did a lot of the improv takes, and then went into the living takes. I probably got more takes than I needed. I would argue that. A lot of people have said, Tom, you're getting way too many different takes of this different stuff. I disagree. I think we're getting exactly what I need. Sometimes, yes, we do. I'll give it that. But yeah, day one, I remember afterwards, it felt like a very spiritual moment, driving away from there and going to get pizza with everyone. We went and got pizza, and I just remember driving to the pizza place and thinking, wow, like it was one of those moments where you're taking a leap of faith with God, that and trusting in Him that He'll make everything work out, and it was just a beautiful moment. The songs that would play just felt like, I think Boulevard of Broken Dreams came on, and I just kind of was like, yeah, is that a good thing or bad thing I'm listening to that right now? I don't know. But I felt at one with God there, because He was getting me through it, and I could experience it. I felt I'm embarking on this thing that's way too big for me to do alone. It's beyond my doing, beyond my ability. And I'm just like, you know what, God, I'm giving this to you. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so uncertain right now. And having done 13 shoot days as I'm recording this now, looking back, I'm like, yeah, dude, you actually get to a place where you feel more certain as you go. Like things start to kind of come together. And it's been a beautiful thing to learn.
Incriminating evidence.
Nothing happened here. We are good. Thanks for watching the show or listening to Moviemaker Ministry on podcast platforms. I hope this served you in some way. If it has, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing, and leaving a review where you view the podcast. Your encouragement will help this reach others. I thank you, and I pray you have a blessed day.